This is the PlayFootball.com podcast, and I'm Jeff Fisher of High School Football America. It's Rewind Wednesday as we go back to February 2nd, 2012, and our interview with NFL legend Jon Kitna, who is returning to his alma mater, Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington, to become the Abe's head coach and a math teacher at the school. After leading the program to a 5-5 record in its first season, the Abes improved to 8-2 under the former NFL QB in 2013 and an 11-1 mark in 2014. Since leaving Lincoln, Kitna has served as a head football coach in Arizona and in Texas, and he's currently the head coach at Burleson High School in Texas. Time to rewind to that 2012 interview with Kitna, who was extremely excited to return to his alma mater. For the second week in a row, a former NFL quarterback has taken over the reins of a high school football program. Last week it was Shane Matthews at Nice High School in Florida. This week it is Jon Kitna in Washington at Lincoln High School. And Coach Kitna joins us right now to talk about his decision. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Absolutely, and I just read a wonderful story written in the Tacoma newspaper about you. It was written by a reporter there. That kind of goes back into why you've come back to the high school ranks, and I'd really like to kind of explore that at the top of the show, which is, this is something that just didn't come about. You've been thinking about this for a while, so tell us a little bit about the journey back to your alma mater in high school and back to the state of Washington.
Yeah, my wife and I, we got married when I was still in college, and my wife is a teacher and was a teacher and a coach, and that was my degree also, was secondary education, and that was kind of always what we wanted to do, was how can we have the greatest impact with our lives on others, and we have always felt like, high school hallways are the greatest, opportunity to do that day in and day out. And so coming out of college, when I finished college, I didn't think the NFL was going to happen, and our longtime high school coach here had just stepped down as coach, and so I actually applied for the job coming out of college, and didn't get it at the time, and not that it would have mattered anyhow since the NFL started like the next month, and so it's always been a passion of mine, a desire of my wife and I, and then all that's really happened over 16 years is that God, we just feel like God's given us a more acute focus on it and has trained us and prepared us for this time to come back into this high school and to, really just pour into the lives of these young men and women, but young men in particular, through the football program.
Sure, the dream just delayed a couple of years, about 16 of them. So tell us a little bit before we get into the coaching, what it's been like to go into the classroom and become a math teacher.
Yeah, these last couple of weeks, last 10 days or so, all I've really done is just observe, and then next Tuesday is when we start the new semester, and that's when I'll pick up my 3 classes teaching. And so, I'm really excited about that. I always felt like I wanted to be more than just a coach, because I want to be in the hallways and be able to interact with the young men in my program outside of football, and also the other people that are in the building. I feel like I have a lot more to offer than just football and things like that. And math has always been a passion of mine since I was in high school, and found out I was pretty good at it. So, I'm really looking forward to all aspects of it.
X's and O's and the numbers, it all comes together. We are talking with Jon Kitna today on High School Football America, the new head coach at Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington. And I pointed out at the top a great article by Dave Bowling of the News Tribune that I'll post on our blog. But one of the things that Dave points out in the article specifically is the enthusiasm to have you back in the community. So tell me a little bit about the announcement. I know that was a big deal, and getting down and sitting down with the kids the first time. What were some of the things that you discussed, and how exciting was it for your players or your future players at this point?
Yeah, I think, like Dave said, there is a lot of excitement, and certainly that just comes with the territory. It's not every day that you get an ex-NFL player, a professional athlete to come and walk your hallways, much less who's going to be there all the time and a chance to be coached by him. So a lot of kids are really excited and feel like, this is going to give them a better chance to be successful individually and for us as a football program. But, as I've already stated to them and reiterating as we get going with our off-season workout program and stuff like that is, I'm here. I'm here to take what you give me and my coaching staff, we're here to take what you give us and help it be better. Mm-hmm. And so what we need from you guys is to show up every day and give us everything you got, and we'll give you everything we got, and we'll see where we end up. But they are excited, and certainly Tacoma is like a lot of mid-sized cities, hit hard by the economic downturn, and Seattle being just north of us, and really thriving city and things like that. In Seattle, Tacoma, they've taken a big hit, but we really feel like there's a lot of greatness in Tacoma and at Lincoln High School in particular. So we're really excited to get in there and start working with these young men and training them up.
Certainly, the game of high school football has changed since you were there. You already mentioned the change in the community and all that, but there's a lot more pressure at the high school football level now on these kids with ESPNs of the world and the Rivals and the Scouts.com and all that. Where do you think the biggest change, aside from the media spotlight, is as you get ready to coach your first year at the high school level?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's the visibility of high school football has grown immensely in the last 15 years since, or last 20 years since I left high school, I guess. And, so it's different. But, around here, what we want to do is raise the expectations that we can be visible, not only in our state, but, be relevant in the country football-wise. That hasn't been the case around here. We want kids to feel like they can get football scholarships and things like that. So those are all part of what we want. We want these young men to aspire to have those kind of dreams and hopefully better their situation by getting a higher education. So there's pressure that comes with that, but there's always pressure that comes with anything that is going to help you improve yourself.
Talked to Shane Matthews about this last week, and I'll ask you the same question. Obviously, having been in the NFL as long as you were, and not making you sound like an old guy, but obviously offenses have evolved a lot in the last decade and a half. How much of a high-powered offense that is kind of predicated upon your NFL experience will be put into play this year with your high school program?
Very little. I'm not naive enough to think that students at the high school level, young men at the high school level, are going to be able to grasp NFL concepts. So we're going to start small and start with a very basic understanding of what we're going to try to get accomplished in our identity on offense and on defense, and we'll just continue to build as they grasp what we're putting in. Our philosophy as a coaching staff is, we don't need a whole bunch of stuff. We just need to do what we do really well. And so we're not going to add things for the sake of adding it. We're just going to try to stay as simple as we can.
Talking to Jon Kitna tonight, the new head coach at Lincoln High School, a 16-year NFL veteran, the quarterback with 4 different teams. And we pointed out earlier, John, the article by Dave Bowling of the News Tribune. And I think one of the things that caught my eye specifically was some of the great comments from various people in the article. Former college coach Dennis Erickson talking about the beginning of your pro career, and then Warren Moon. Is it too soon to ask you to kind of wax poetically a little bit about your career, and especially when you read, things like Warren said about you in that article? How does that make you feel, and how do you wrap everything up after a great NFL career?
Well, I think, first of all, anytime somebody's doing a piece that is supposed to be complimentary on you, I think people talk about you better than you actually are. And this is, the opposite of that is true. If they're trying to write an article that is meant to be critical, then people talk about you worse than you actually are. So, the reality is with Warren Moon, he was somebody that was instrumental for me just to watch, how he operated every day, and the way that, he interacted with all different types of guys in the locker room, and the leader that he was. My former teammate growing up through Pop Warner in high school, Lawyer Malloy. I mean, you read some of the things he says, and you would get the idea maybe that he was kind of looking to me. That's not the case. Lawyer was a cut above the rest. The whole time he was growing up, everybody knew whether his his final destination would be if everything just continued normally. But it's nice to know that, you know, you have some impact on some people, but more importantly, just that you were consistent for the last 20 years in high school and college and now in the pro game, that you were a consistent person day in and day out, and people knew what they could expect from you. And that's really what we want to bring to our high school program here at Lincoln. They've dealt with a lot of inconsistency over the years, and I think somebody told me that I was the fifth coach in 4 years or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my message to the young men is, well, you know, Lord willing, that's not going to be the case, because I plan on being here a long time, and we really want to build consistency around these young men.
Before we let you go here, one last question. It's kind of an unfair, but let's fast forward into two-a-days. Late summer there, you got the whistle around your neck. You've obviously been in a lot of NFL camps, lived a dream out. Tell me a little bit about what's probably going to be going through your mind, since you said this is kind of a calling, this is something you wanted to do. Can you kind of paint a picture of what you think you're going to feel come August?
Just complete excitement. I think the fact that I'm hired now, sometimes, you know, new high school coaches don't get hired until, you know, March or later in the spring. And the fact that I'll be here now and have a chance to, you know, partner with my cousin and doing some strength and conditioning program and really kind of try to catch these kids up to speed fundamentally and things like that, you know, once August comes, that's the fun part. That's when you get to put into practice all the things that you've been working on for the last 6 months and 7 months. And, so I can't wait for that day, but I know that, you know, there's days to be stacked upon each other as we're going through January and February and March that get us to that day. And I'll be excited. I'll be excited for the young men to have different expectations, and hopefully our community will come out and support these young men in a way that they haven't experienced in the past. Mm-hmm. And that they'll respond the right way with that.
And John, it's just so good to hear the enthusiasm in your voice. Everything I read leading up to this interview, it's come true. So much like Shane Matthews last week, it's just really a pleasure to see that you had such a high career and you're able to come back down and give back to the kids. So congratulations and best of luck in 2012, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I look forward to being on the program again. Hopefully, because we're having some success both on the field and off of it.
You got a deal. That should be something that we're shooting for. So I look forward to talking to you later on in the season when things are going real well for you. Take care.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeff.
That's PlayFootball.com's Rewind Wednesday interview from 2012 with NFL legend Jon Kitna, who played 16 years in the National Football League. Hey, coaches, don't forget to check out PlayFootball.com for great resources to help you improve in the coaching profession. And next week on PlayFootball.com's Rewind Wednesday, we'll talk with NFL legend Eric Dickerson about his memories of his final high school football game that ended with a Texas high school football championship. I'm Jeff Fisher of High School Football America, and you've been listening to PlayFootball.com's podcast.